Transworld Motocross how-tos presented by Bike Bandit. Having the right shim clearance in the bike is very, very important. It helps starting, it helps running, it helps on decel, and it's something you should definitely check once or twice a year. So we've got this Cowie 450 apart here, doing a top end on it, and we're going to check the shim clearance. I've already gone ahead and used these Motion Pro shim tools to check the clearance, and this is what you should do after you figure out where you're at on each of the 4 valves. Build here, I've taken the subframe off, the shock off, at least removed the shock a little bit, taken the carburetor off. You can let it hang down here. I've drained the coolant, taken the motor mounts off, tank obviously. You want to get everything as much out of the way as you can to start. It makes it a whole lot easier coming down the road. So what you can do now is simply remove the valve cover. Careful of that gasket on the top. Usually you can reuse this top gasket. It stays on there. Come around to the side of the bike. You're gonna have to time it. So remove your timing covers here and here. As well, your cam chain tensioner bolt. And there's always a little O-ring in there. I'll get that in a second. And then now you're ready to actually start taking it apart. But first you must find top dead center. Shoot. All right, bolts are out of here. Now sometimes it takes a little bit of force I just like to tap it with a T-handle, kind of break the seal between the dowels. And on a Cowie, like I said, you are going to want to keep it together. And watch your dowels. Always watch your dowels. So, oil lines off and cam caps can come off. See right there, one of the dowels came up on me. So, again, just be careful of that. Drop it back into its hole where it's happy. And this one came off, one with the cap, one still in the head. But that's fine, just pay attention to them. So we've already found top dead center, but you need to find it as well to measure your valves. So I just simply find top dead center. I always put a T-hand or a screwdriver down in there, take the spark plug out. So we are right there is top dead center. The cam chain tensioner needs to be loose. Simply get your screwdriver, stick it in the hole and turn it clockwise and take the tension out of the chain. Now in this particular model, the exhaust is 0.17 to 0.22 clearance and the intake is 0.10 to 0.15. As you can see on the board, the exhaust I've measured is 0.17, so we're within spec, and but the intakes are tight. 0.19 for one, 0.07 for the other, 0.09, 0.07 for the other. This is a ginormous piece of paper, but just get a smaller piece and write down each valve and what you're measuring to keep track and make it easier for you later. Okay, so the intake cam has been removed, and now we'll take the bucket and the shim off and see what we have. Just gently grab the bucket up with a pair of pliers. Sometimes the shim is stuck in there, but on this one, the shim is in the bottom of the bucket. All right, so I've got the buckets and the shims here, and I've lined it up. This is the left-hand exhaust, this is the right-hand exhaust as it's sitting on the bike. Due to wear and tear, you can't see the number on the shim anymore, so this is where your caliper comes into effect. It's a 2.5 shim. The left one is, the right one, 2.5 as well. So, 1.3, that's right in the middle of the recommended range for the intake. We're at 0.07 on the left, 0.09 on the right. So we need to go up approximately 0.05 in the shims. We have 2.5 millimeter shims in there. Add 4 to that, which would bring this up to 11 and this up to 13. Add 4 to that, and you're looking at plus 0.4. You're looking at a 0.29 shim or a 0.30. All right, so we've got a shim kit here from Hot Cams, and you can pick that up from them, or you can get a bunch of retailers have shim kits. So it's nicely in here. Like I said, we need a 2.9. Can't get that, so let's go with the 3. We got a 3 shim, and it's marked 3, and we're going to install the 3 shim on top of the valve, and that should be perfect for what we need. All right, I've got the new shim. I'm going to drop that in the top, on top of the retainer. Push it down in there. Get a little bit of oil. Just coat the sides of the buckets when you're reinstalling. Again, make sure you have the left and the right side correct, because it does matter. Just push the bucket down in there. This is the shim over bucket system, they call it, obviously. And then now we're ready to install the cam. We have found top dead center, so we're all good there. So now we simply need to install the cam. And just bring it towards you. Tilt it a little bit of an angle to help yourself get on the chain. And I can see I'm one tooth off, as opposed to being level to the top of the cylinder head. So I'm going to take the cam back out and just take the chain off and move the cam one tooth down. And we are level with the top on the exhaust and the intake. We're at top dead center in the piston. So we're good to go. All right, I've got the retainer clips. The exhaust one is in. Put this one in the intake. Careful not to drop them. Those basically hold the cam in place. This Kawasaki, the Kawasaki has an O-ring underneath the spark plug cam, so it just drops into that little groove right there. Don't forget that. All right, this being a Kawi, we have some oil passageways there, and install the Kawasaki all as one happy family together. Basically drop it in there, let it find it home with the dowels, with the oil lines together, and there we go. All in there. Time for the bolts. They're installed here. These need to be torqued properly. I can't stress enough, you need to torque the cam caps as well as the cylinder head bolts correctly. So what I like to do is just get them finger tight here. And then the correct amount of torque is 8 foot-pounds. I'm not going to go 8 for each one. I'm going to do a 4 each one and then increase to 8. But as well, so we got 4 foot-pounds. Crisscross these bolts. I like to start in the middle and then go outwards, but crisscross at 4 foot-pounds each. Very important to torque these bolts. I've seen damage from over-tightening. I've seen damage from under-tightening. You can ask my buddy who had to lay out about $400 because he over-tightened it. My buddy Trevor. He's been called out now. All right, so we've got 4. Now let's do 8. Set the torque wrench. And again, same pattern. Start on the inside. Crisscross. And we're at 8 foot-pounds of torque. One thing I should mention that maybe we didn't talk about too is I grease the journals of the cam caps as well with oil to help the initial startup, the initial break-in of the top end that we did earlier. And this is just for shimming valves. So take the cam chain tensioner, break it loose. Cam chain is tight. Now let's check and see if our measurements were right. Yeah. All right, now we're ready to see if we are where we're at and where we're supposed to be for the proper amount of clearance. So we've got a feeler gauge here. Let's try to get a 0.10 in there. Basically, you have it set with the lobes are across from each other at top dead center. You just want to stick the feeler gauge in there and see if there's room between the top of the bucket and the bottom of the lobe. And as you can see, there's plenty of room there. So I know this one's a little tight, but it's looser than a 0.10. And we know from our measurements that the intake is 0.10 to 0.15. So we know now we have enough measurement. But do we have too much measurement? Let's take a look. Here we have a 0.15 feeler gauge. Put that in there. And nope, it will not go through between the bucket and the lobe. Same thing on the other side. So we know our measurement, and we can go precise. Just for giggles, let's try 0.13. And a 0.13 goes through on the left, does not go through on the right, but we know a 0.10 does. So our right hand intake valve is between a 0.10 and a 0.13. Somewhere in there. It's either 0.11 or 0.12. But we're well within range. And we know a 0.15 won't go on the left one, but a 0.13 did. So chances are we are at 0.14 on the left intake valve. Either way, we're within spec on what the owner's manual calls for, and you're ready to go ripping. Don't forget, put the spark plug back in, put the valve cover back on, and you'll be ready to go. That's this week's Transworld How-To presented by Bike Bandit, shim adjustment.